Carlson Day 69. Pretty much 69. Today we're going to, since we can't go to the summer fair, we're going to make elephant ears here. Homemade elephant ears.
Alright, so you're going to need just a few ingredients for homemade elephant ears. It does take a little bit of time, so we're going to walk you through the steps of this process. You start with 3/4 of a cup of milk, 3 tablespoons of Crisco oil. You'll need 1/4 of a cup of sugar, but that is divided. You only need a tablespoon of sugar to start with, and 1/2 of a teaspoon of salt. We're going to put those ingredients into a saucepan. Other things you'll need for this is a tablespoon of yeast, 2 cups of flour, some oil to fry your elephant ears in.
Wait, you fry elephant ears?
Yep, we're frying the dough.
Oh.
Like dough balls.
Oh, okay.
And you'll need 1.5 tablespoons of cinnamon. So we're going to go ahead and put the ingredients that we need into our saucepan. All you're doing is heating this up so the sugar dissolves. So we need 3/4 of a cup of milk. Okay, so you need 3 tablespoons of Crisco. I just have these Crisco baking sticks, so their measurements are on the side of this. If you have like a tub of Crisco, then you can just measure that out with a measuring spoon. But 3 tablespoons is what we're looking for. Just going to put that in with the milk. And 1 tablespoon of sugar. And 1/2 of a teaspoon of salt. So we're just going to let this heat up until your Crisco is melted and your sugar is dissolved. So you just want to stir this occasionally as this is warming up. After a couple of minutes, your oil will be melted. So you're just going to remove this from the heat just until it's about lukewarm before you add your yeast to it. You don't want to add your yeast when it's too hot. So let this cool for a couple of minutes and then we'll add our yeast. After about 2 minutes of just letting this cool down a little bit, we will now add in a tablespoon of yeast or one of the little packets. You'll just want to stir your yeast in until it's dissolved, and then we're going to let this sit for a couple more minutes until the mixture becomes kind of foamy on the top. Okay, after you let the yeast sit for a couple of minutes, all you're going to do next is add in 2 cups of flour. So we're just going to stir in the 2 cups of flour, and then we're going to knead it in the mixer. If you don't have a stand mixer like this, you can certainly do it by hand, but we're going to knead ours in the mixer. Alright, so I'm going to dump the yeast, milk, sugar mixture into our mixer and then stir in our 2 cups. Remember, you want to make sure your flour is kind of sifted in your container so it's not heavy. So there's 1 cup and 2 cups. This is going to make a decent amount of elephant ears. We'll probably get 12 to 15 elephant ears out of this, smaller size ones, not the big, large portions, but it will make quite a bit of dough. Alright, so once your flour stirred in, doesn't take very long, add your hook attachment to your mixer if you have that. If not, you're just going to knead this on a very lightly floured surface. You don't want to add too much extra flour. And then we'll turn this on and we're going to knead this for about 5 to 7 minutes. After about 5 minutes, we're left with a very soft dough. We're going to let this rise for about 30 minutes before we turn it into the elephant ears. All right, when your dough has had a chance to rise, about 30 to 45 minutes or so, we pull it out of your bowl. I've also got a saucepan of oil boiling here. Used about 1/2 of a bottle of canola oil for that. Kind of on a medium heat right now. You don't want it to be too hot. All right, so what we're going to do is just break our dough up into about 12 pieces, 12 circles, and then we're going to roll each of those out. So you'll also want to get your cinnamon and sugar mixture together. So we had about 1/4 of a cup of sugar divided for this recipe. So you're going to have about 3 tablespoons of sugar left. So we'll put 3 tablespoons of sugar into a bowl, along with 1.5 tablespoons of cinnamon. You'll want to have this ready because you want to put your cinnamon and sugar mixture on top of the hot elephant ears as soon as they come out of the oil. So with that being said, Make sure you have a plate ready that is lined with paper towel. Okay, then all you're going to do is take one of your circles and just roll it out until it's in a circle shape and about 1/4 inch thick or so. I have my surface just lightly floured. All right, these don't have to be perfectly circled. All you're going to do is put it into the hot oil and then let it cook for about 30 seconds on each side. It's going to start bubbling up and getting brown on the other side. When that happens, you just flip it. Okay, so this is the bubbling up that you're looking for. You'll want to just check it underneath to make sure that it's brown before you flip it. When it is done, put it out onto your paper towel and then just sprinkle that with the cinnamon and sugar mixture that we made a little bit earlier. Okay, so we're going to flip this one. And about 30 to 45 seconds on each side is what it will take. Alright, so when your elephant ear is brown on both sides, again, put it out on your paper towel. You might want to flip it over just so all of the grease drains off. And then you're just going to sprinkle the top. I would say I'm putting about maybe 1/2 tablespoon or so onto each one. And that's all there is to elephant ears. And there's your finished plate of elephant ears.
Is it heavy? I think that's heavy.